Good morning everyone. Today we are going to start with fourth part, that is the last part of this chapter, executive, in which we are going to discuss the Council of Ministers and permanent executives, that are the bureaucrats. Okay, so let us start with our explanation. Well, next we are going to discuss the Council of Ministers. Now, Indian government is known as either the prime ministership form of government, the parliamentary form of government, and it is also known as the council of ministership form of government or cabinet ministership form of government. Okay, now who are these council of ministers? They are the members of the ruling party who have been given different departments by the prime minister, and they act as the ministers. Okay, now this council of ministers, they are appointed by president. Again, you see all the important positions, they are appointed by president, but on the advice of prime minister. Prime minister will decide who will be the minister in their government. Second one, they are distributed different portfolios by the prime minister according to skill and seniority. This I have already told you. The prime minister will decide out of his political party who will become the minister and which department he or she is going to handle, and it all depends upon the skill and seniority. The third one, the Council of Ministers work on the principle of collective responsibility. Now this is very important. They all are the ministers of the present ruling government. They share collective responsibility. What does it means? That if the vote of no confidence is passed against one minister, if the members of Lok Sabha are not satisfied with one minister, then the whole ministry has to resign. All members, they have to resign. They all have the equal responsibility to answer the legislature. They equally are responsible for everything which is going on within the government. So that is why prime minister, if he doesn't like the work of any minister, he changed that minister only. Next one, the ministers can be appointed out of legislature also. Now it is not necessary that only the MPs which are chosen, only they can be appointed as a minister by prime minister. If an outsider is appointed as a minister, if a person who is not chosen as MP, but PM wants somebody to become the minister, then he must become the minister, but he should be able to become the minister of the house within 6 months. Means within 6 months he should become MP from any of the constituency in India within 6 months period. Then next one, there are three types of ministers in this council of ministers. First one, cabinet ministers, which are of most important departments, and second one, ministers of state, and third one, deputy ministers. Now this council of ministers consists of around 70, total around 70 ministers are there roughly. These cabinet members, that is the first category, there are around 20 ministers, and they have the most important portfolios and most important departments under them. Then on second number come, we have ministers of state with independent charge. Even these are council of ministers, but of rank which is little bit lower than cabinet ministers. And third one are deputy ministers. These deputy ministers, they help the cabinet ministers in their work. Now coming to the size of the ministers, how much cabinet ministers should be there? I have told you around 70 are there, but it is not the exact size. Let us see. According to 91 constitutional amendment, the total number of ministers, including the prime minister, should not exceed 15% of the total number of Lok Sabha seats. Now how many seats we have in Lok Sabha? 543 constituencies. 15% of 543, this should only be the number of this cabinet minister or council of ministers. We cannot have more than 15% of ministers. But earlier what was the practice? Before this amendment, there was no specific number of ministers. Now ministers, they were chosen according to the discretion of prime minister. Prime minister, he used to choose himself that who will be given which ministry, and there used to be large number of ministers. The reason for this was that there was the coalition government. And when you ask some party to be your coalition, to join your party as a coalition, then you make the promise to that party कि हमारी पार्टी ज्वाइन कर लो, आपको मिनिस्टर बना देंगे, हमारी पार्टी ज्वाइन कर लो, आपको मिनिस्टर बना देंगे. सो इन दिस ल्योर, इसी लालच में पार्टीज आपको ज्वाइन करती जाती हैं, उनको एक प्रॉमिस मिलता जाता है कि आपको मिनिस्टर बनाया जाएगा, और उनमें से मिनिस्टर बनाते जाते हैं. एंड ड्यू टू दिस द काउंसिल ऑफ मिनिस्टर नंबर वॉज वेरी लार्ज. बट ये चीज़ बढ़ती जा रही थी, इसलिए दिस कॉन्स्टिट्यूशनल अमेंडमेंट वॉज डन, 91st अमेंडमेंट, जिसके अकॉर्डिंग ये फिक्स कर दिया था कि जितना हाउस का नंबर है, टोटल नंबर ऑफ मेंबर्स 543 फॉर लोकसभा, उसका 15% will be the ministers only. Same is the case for Rajya Sabha and same is the case for state legislature. हर state government में भी चीफ मिनिस्टर सिर्फ उतने ही काउंसिल ऑफ मिनिस्टर्स बनाएगा जितना उनके हाउस का टोटल नंबर है. फॉर एग्जांपल हरियाणा में, इन हरियाणा विधानसभा वी हैव 90 सीट्स, ठीक है, 90 MPs है. अब 90 का 15% जो भी नंबर आता है, ओनली दैट वुड बी द नंबर ऑफ काउंसिल ऑफ मिनिस्टर्स ऑफ हरियाणा. Okay, so I hope you are clear with the size of ministers. So till now we did political executive, in which we did president, prime minister and council of ministers. Now I am going to start with next, that is permanent executive, in which bureaucracy comes, and I have given you the introduction of this bureaucracy already in the first slide. Okay. Now the function of the country cannot be handled by the ministers alone. You know, we have such a big country. There is so much of diversity in the communities. So many works are there. So only minister who is handling, for example, railway minister, he cannot alone do all the work regarding the railway alone. Fine. So for this purpose, as same way different ministers are there who cannot do the work of their department independently. They need the help. So for this purpose, the minister needs civil servant to perform these duties. Now these civil servants, they are highly skilled, highly educated persons who will be helping the ministers in their work. So the role of bureaucracy, that is civil servant, is very important, because actual implementation is done by these people only. That is why their role is very important. Now the civil servants, they are divided into 3 types. The first one is all India services, in which we have IAS and IPS officers. Okay. Second, we have central services, means the services of central government, in which we have Indian foreign services, that is the ambassadors which are sent to different countries, and Indian revenue services, in which the tax collection, this department comes. Then third one, state services. All the states, they also have their sales tax officers, and they also have their DSPs and all, who take care of the overall administration of a state. So these are the 3 categories in which civil services have been divided. Now I told you this all India services, it includes IAS and IPS officers. They work in any central government office, means they are under the control of direct union government, center government, that could be located either in Delhi or elsewhere in any part of any state of the country. They may work in states, or they may work in Delhi, or they may work anywhere, but they are answerable to central government only. Only the central government can take any action against them. The state governments cannot take any action against them, and they are not answerable to the state governments. Then second one, Indian foreign services, I have told you, they work in Indian missions abroad as ambassadors. They are the representatives of India who are sitting in different countries and carrying out Indian missions over there. Then third one, state civil services. They work within the particular state only. They are state officers. They work in the state only in which they are recruited. Recruited means in which they are given the job. They include sales tax officer and other officers of high rank which are recruited through civil service exam at the state level. Now how these persons, they are appointed? What is the procedure? There is an exam, that is civil service exam for different posts, that is conducted either in states or at the center level. If they are conducted by the state, then they become state officers. If they are conducted by the central level, then they become the central government officers. Okay. Now these central level officers, they are recruited by UPSC, that is Union Public Service Commission, and state level officers are recruited by SSC, that is State Service Commission. Okay, so these are the two bodies which are working independently. They are not dependent upon any other organization. The purpose of the constitution in making this body independent was that this civil service exam could be taken fairly, and fairly recruitment of the civil service post DCs and IAS and IPS officers should be there. That is why this body was an independent body. It was not under the control of anybody. So UPSC is an independent body formed for the recruitment person. Recruitment person means giving the jobs purpose of civil servants. They work till their retirement age. Now I told you they are the permanent executives, means they will work till their retirement age comes, irrespective of the government. Any government may come, either BJP come or Congress come or any coalition government come, but once appointed they will work till their retirement age and they will not change with the change in government. That is why they are called permanent executives. Okay. It is an instrument through which welfare policies of government reach the people. Now actually, common people, they are not able to contact the high level ministers, so they are the middle link who give the policies which are initiated by the government to the people. They are not responsible to the people. Now there is one problem with this civil service. It is being considered that even these people, they are of very high level, and common people, they feel afraid to reach them for any of the work. And another important reason is they are not answerable to people. इनको लोगों को जवाब नहीं देना पड़ता. They have to give answer to their government only. So this is the great demand by the people of the country, by the Indian people, that the civil servant should also be made answerable to people. लोगों को भी जवाब दे. Only then they can work with complete full efficiency. Okay, so that's all regarding the bureaucracy, that is the permanent executive. Fine. Well, with this I finish up with the chapter. I hope the contents of the chapter are clear to each and everyone. I expect you to review this video again and again and then read the chapter thoroughly. Thank you so much.